and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Angelica Malin, coming to you from Sibos 2023 in Toronto. Today we're talking about operating models, and I'm joined by Jarkko Turunen from Tietoevry Banking. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks.
So, talking about operating models, what are some of the challenges that banks face in terms of payment processing that might lead them to reevaluate their operating model?
I'd say there are three main drivers, three C's if you like. So it's first of all compliance, then competencies, and then client expectations. And if we start from the compliance, as we know, there are multitude of regulatory initiatives in EU related to instant payments, PSD3, and so forth. There are also a lot of, let's say, industry-driven compliance initiatives towards ISO 222, and then in one hand that is actually making the payments landscape simpler because everything is going to be more harmonized and towards one goal, but then at the same time there is still like very local regulatory initiatives like the national contingency acts and the likes, what we for instance in the Nordics have. So there are a lot of regulatory changes that are impacting the payments market and affecting banks. The second challenge that we see in the market is competencies. I mean, if we look around here in Sibos, there are a lot of people. It's been the same people for 10-20 years, and the kind of a new generation is maybe not growing as rapidly as we would like. So that's for the business side, but then also in the IT side, there are a lot of legacy platforms, a lot of old technologies, and the people are aging. So there is a gap when it comes to competencies and managing the payment systems. And then third point, client expectations. There are on the back of instant payments, growing cross-border e-commerce and the likes, there are more expectations from the customers also to improve the payment offering that banks are having.
Fantastic, thank you. And what are some of the elements to consider if you're thinking about reevaluating your operating model when it comes to the decision-making process?
Yeah, so what we've seen is that there are kind of two main strategies for banks when it comes to payments. First of all, some banks have taken very strategic position on payments and they want to be the payments bank. They maybe consolidate payment flows even from other banks and create a, let's say, very dedicated payment-focused business that is very scalable and cost effective so that they can actually have a high volume payments business. But there are quite few of such players who really can have such volumes to be really profitable in that space. Then there are other banks who are then kind of having maybe product differentiation to some extent for their local clients or then kind of want to be more customer intimate in payments. And they also have the same challenges as everyone else. So basically they will also need to renew their platforms and develop them. And then we see a couple of different approaches on how to solve them. On one hand, there is kind of a technology-driven alternative where the banks are then still building their own capability, maybe using some technology components from the market to build platform and then kind of manage that on their own. The kind of maybe question there is going back to the competence challenge is that okay, while it's easy to and good to develop, fast to develop that with modern technology, then how will the maintenance work going forward with those banks, with the competence challenges? The other area is then payment as a service, which is something that is also emerging. So there are ready-made platforms in the market that are then offering more out-of-the-box payment solution to different degree to the banks.
Sounds like there's lots of things to consider there. So you mentioned payments as a service. At EBA Day this year, you announced Payments as a Service Plus. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and specifically what the plus signifies?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've seen in the market is that payment as a service or PaaS is used let's say, pretty flexibly. And I mean, many of the PaaS offerings from vendors in the market are pretty much like payment processing engine, which is put on a cloud. So that's a very rudimentary or kind of basic element of the payment platform modernization. What we in Tietoevry are offering more comprehensive technology platform, so we not only offer the payment engine, but also pre-processing capabilities, routing, reconciliation, and other technological capabilities, so that you have kind of a full capability. And then since you asked about the plus, then what we also see, because the banks are not only having challenges with the technology platform, we also observe that there are challenges in operations in the back office when it comes to AML, FCP, KYC, even the customer service aspects of payments are something that it's a bit challenging to find the competencies or do that in a cost-effective way. So the PaaS Plus is actually the technology platform complemented with operational capabilities.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation, sharing your insights.
Thank you.